My friends, I've seen horrible, horrible things in my time. Things that cannot be unseen. Not only is this one of those things, but it's also the dumbest thing I've ever seen. What am I talking about? Well, no other than Artemis Fowl. Now, you're probably wondering, Artemis Fowl? Does that name ring a bell? Well, it might, because they put a trailer out for it, 2 years ago.
Now you will believe. Artemis Fowl.
And then suddenly it just kind of disappeared off the map. You had that one teaser trailer, and then no one heard anything for like months and months and months. And then suddenly, randomly in 2019, you just see another trailer drop, and they're like, hey guys, we're back. Yeah, Artemis Fowl, remember that? 2020, baby, here we come. But then God just looked down upon that and, just said, no. Time to go all 10 commandments on humanity for making this monstrosity. So yeah, COVID-19 came in and shut down all the theaters. So naturally you would think, well, Disney would just do what everyone else is doing, just put their movies to video on demand, everybody pays $20 to watch it, and that way you can make your money, hopefully make your box office. But oddly, they decided to put it on Disney Plus, which financially makes no sense because all you need is a $7 subscription and or someone's account to share, and you get to watch this movie for free. And this movie wasn't cheap, it was $125 million. So people were kind of baffled by this decision. But then it occurred to me, what would be worse for Disney's brand, To put out a movie that everyone's gonna make fun of anyway for being bad? Or to put out a movie that everyone's gonna make fun of for being bad and also have a box office disaster on your hands? So naturally, they picked the former instead of the latter. Which brings us to Artemis Fowl. So here's the thing, I'm gonna review this, but at times I'm gonna say spoilers because who gives a crap? Seriously, were you looking forward to Artemis Fowl? But if you really care so much, here's a non-spoiler review. It was bad, it sucked. Yeah, about it. Anything beyond this point, it's at your own discretion. So if you don't know, Artemis Fowl is based off a series of books. I haven't read them, but I've seen the synopsis for them, so I have an idea what it is. And in the books, Artemis Fowl, his family is a crime family. They are known for being, part of, this whole underground crime thing. But after some hard times and things like that, they're less rich than most people. So Artemis, as this criminal genius, devised a plan where he has discovered the fairy world, and so he's gonna kidnap a fairy and ransom her for money, and and the adventure unfolds from there. Which should paint you a picture that Artemis Fowl, the character, he's not a good guy. I mean, he's your main character in the books, but when you meet him, he's doing this for selfish reasons. And throughout the series, he evolves as a character and all that blah, blah, blah. Do you think they went this route in the movie? Well, did you watch the trailer? No, they didn't go this route. They completely Disney-fied him, made him pretty much the thief with a heart or whatever. At least that's the angle they're going with. No, the plot of this movie is just generic as mess. So in this, Artemis Fowl Sr., Artemis Fowl's, father, he is ousted by the world as this master thief. Apparently he robbed museums and stuff like that. But it turns out he was actually doing this for the good of humanity. He knew about the world of fairies and all that stuff. And so the things that he steals is to protect it from, humanity and other negative forces. But then suddenly he goes missing. He's kidnapped by this other fairy who wants to use him as a ransom so that Artemis Fowl Jr. can find this MacGuffin thing that will help them take over the world or some stupidness, I don't know. So Artemis and his black blue-eyed butler They don't explain that. Have to figure out where this thing is so they can save his father. Now, when you hear this thing about, you know, a world of fairies and magic and stuff, you think, okay, well, Artemis is discovering this for the first time and everything. You know, we're gonna go on a journey with him and see him discover this world and everything. Nope. The entire movie takes place in this one stupid boring mansion. Like, this movie is only an hour 30 minutes long, and it was at one point that I'm seeing that we're still in this mansion. I click on, you know, the runtime to see where I'm at, and I realize I'm more than halfway through the movie and we're still in this boring mansion. You don't really see any of the fairy world. You barely see any magic, really. You see some magical stuff, but nothing to awe over. And anything that could possibly be interesting is just kind of glanced over within like a few sentences, and then you're just in the next scene. Like, dude, this movie is so choppy. Like, it's so aware of its runtime that it's really just trying to get to one thing to the next to the point that it's just doing exposition vomit. You know that thing in which characters will say things that no real person would actually say in real life, just to quickly inform the audience what's going down, what this character is about, so we can get to the next thing. Like, it's this point where we meet this fairy character and she's part of the police force, but her father was labeled a traitor because he stole the MacGuffin a long time ago. So now she wants to go out and clear his name. So the way they let you know that's her motivation is literally have a character say, do you know who that is? That's the daughter of the traitor who stole the MacGuffin and who wants to clear her father's name by any means necessary. I mean, it's that lazy of writing, and they do that constantly throughout the film, especially with Artemis himself. Like, they say he's this genius, but you never really see him be a genius. You're told how he's a genius by Josh Gad's character. He plays this dwarf who's tall, so he's just normal size. And the entire movie is narrated from him in this interrogation room. And he has this really gruff, like Batman-esque growl.
The man. Oh no. This isn't about the father. This is about the son. Artemis Fowl.
And I don't know who told him to go with that choice. I don't know why they okayed that, because it's horrible. It's annoying. But not only does he have that, Dame Judi Dench is in this, and she plays like the commander of the fairies or whatever, and she has this growl for some reason too. And at one point they actually pointed out in the movie that, hey, they both have growls. But just because you say that you're doing the stupid thing doesn't mean it makes it not stupid. But yeah, just randomly he'll just tell you how Artemis is thinking of things and how he's executing this master plan before you even see the master plan, which kind of makes the moment of the master plan unfolding kind of like lackluster, because you already know it's coming. You already know why Artemis is doing the things he's doing, not because you're seeing the genius unfold, but because you have someone tell you that it's genius. And then you have two other characters. You have Artemis Fowl's butler, whose name is Butler, and you have his niece. And again, you just have Josh Gad narrating, telling you, you know, why they are relevant, instead of you seeing them being relevant, because both of those characters really contribute nothing. The butler's there, and they say that he's this really tough, you know, martial arts trained man. And it's said that he's already known about this world of fairies as long as, you know, Artemis' dad has. Every single time he's on screen, he's not really doing anything cool. He's just giving Pikachu face to most things. And then there's his niece, in which they introduce her saying that she's important to this, but you know, what does she do in the actual story?
Jack and poop. Jack left town.
Yeah, nothing. Literally, all she does is serve some sandwiches and then is used as troll bait. Beyond that, she's just a prop in the background. But even with so little character, you know, all these characters have, the majority of them all seem like they're doing Shakespeare whenever they're in the same room with the actor that plays Artemis Fowl. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to this kid, but I just came off of watching that movie Becky, you know, with the little girl that turns Nazis into, you know, ground beef. And in that review, I said that we had come a long way from, you know, bad kid actors. But this movie showed me that no matter how far down the road you go, you're still the same distance from the ditch. And this boy falls straight into the ditch head first every single time he says a line.
Right outside. Just tell me when you're leaving. That's what you said the last time, and the time before. You never told me how to start. But he may have told me how to end. It's a journal. It's Dad's journal.
And there's some obvious dubbing in this movie too. Like, I guess this comes from the reshoots, but there are moments where you just see the back of the actors' heads and you hear dialogue going on, and which is just obvious ADR. It's just blatantly there. And it'd be okay if it was like once, maybe twice, but they do it like about 5 times in a movie, and it goes on for the majority of those scenes.
And he always shared his discoveries with me. The only thing he kept private was his journal.
Then that's what we have to find.
I wouldn't know where to begin to look. Could your father have ever given you a clue as to where to start? Who wrote this poem, Arte?
Nobody knows. That's just it.
Then how do you find it?
And even when I try to find anything good about this movie, I really can't, because I try to go about the world. Well, we don't really see much of the world. Again, we're still at this stupid house the entire time. And then I'll go into like, well, what about the magic? Well, the magic is inconsistent. They introduced this thing called like a time freeze bubble or something, where the fairies will shoot it out and it'll create a time freeze so they can go in and fix things. Like if a human sees a fairy, they can go in and Men in Black them or whatever. And you see them use this about 2 times in a movie, and the first time was when a troll attack happens at a wedding. And when it activates, everything is frozen in time, including the troll. Everything except the fairies. So I just assume, well, maybe they have special tech or magic that, shields them from the effects so they can do their business. But then they do it a second time towards like the last half of the movie, because Artemis kidnaps one of the fairies to kind of use her as a bargaining chip so he can get some information about how to, get the MacGuffin. So they put a whole time freeze thing over his house, but neither him or the butler are frozen. And they never explain why. They kind of go in knowing that they're not going to be frozen almost. And if they did have an explanation, it was probably cut out, because again, this movie is choppy. It just keeps going and going. It has no time to explain anything. It just is what it is, and they keep going. Even the character development and relationships are rushed. Like, you have this fairy that Artemis kidnaps, and the entire time they're just antagonistic towards each other. They saying, I don't trust you, I don't trust you. But literally they have like one kind of okay conversation, and then they're just good old buddies, and they're even playing this sappy music. It literally goes like this. I don't trust you. Well, I don't trust you. Well, I don't trust you more. I double don't trust you. Okay, but can I trust you real quick? Sure. I want to save my dad. Oh my gosh, I want to clear my dead dad's name. Wow, really? Wow, we just bonded real quick right here, right? Yeah. Okay, well, come out this cage. Let's get going. And suddenly they're friends now. She's part of the team. She's helping fight against the fairies. And then when Josh Gad's character comes on the scene, which he has this awkward scene, I guess it's in the books too, but he has to dig a tunnel into Artemis Fowl's house because the other fairies can't come in because they go by vampire rules apparently. And when he digs, he eats the dirt, and they have this visual gag where when he eats the dirt just goes flying out his butt like he's a wood chipper or something. And once he breaks in, he immediately finds where the MacGuffin is hidden, which again is all part of Artemis' plan apparently. You know this because Josh Gad comes in with narration before you even see this and just says, it was all part of the plan. Artemis is Jesus. And then the next thing you know, he's a part of the team now too. And it doesn't make sense why. He just is like, I'm in on this too now. And the climax to this movie is it's boring. Like, it involves a giant troll, but yet it's boring. And it all ends with the troll falling and landing on Butler, crushing him, leaving him on death's door, but he looks okay. There's no bone protruding out of him. He's not bleeding. He's just sitting there grunting and kind of crying, which there's no last words. That troll landed square on him. He should be a pancake, but no, we have some time for some final words. Which, okay, I was about to give him credit. Well, at least they went to a serious place here. But nope, they took that away too, because suddenly the fairy realizes, oh wait, I can heal. That's right. And so she pulls a Ray Palpatine and heals him. All that drama really for nothing. Then they just use the MacGuffin to teleport Artemis' dad back to their house, and then they just give the MacGuffin to the fairies, and then the movie ends with some sequel bait, with Artemis doing this stupid walk towards the camera. So yeah, at the end of the day, Artemis Fowl, it's a sloppily made mess. And honestly, if this was released in theaters, I think I would be a lot more angry than I am right now if I paid money to see this. And honestly, I bet Disney was actually glad that the COVID thing happened and give them an excuse not to release this movie into theaters. Because if they did, the box office would be classified as another natural disaster amongst everything else that happened in 2020. So guys, that's my rant about this movie. It's more of a rant than a review, honestly. If you've seen Artemis Fowl, what did you think? Did you like it for some reason? If you're a fan of the books, what did you think about this adaptation? Did it live up to your expectations? And until next time, take care.